Not in our name, not in my name, not in God's name.
No, I mean, we dealt with this in the 50s. Why are we bringing this today at this day and age? I mean, we're getting ready to accept, you know, marriage equality, and all of a sudden now they want to start protecting rights. What rights are you protecting? You're not bringing everybody to the community. You know, you're not bringing them together.
Welcome back to The World Over Live. Those were protesters reacting to a proposed religious liberty bill in Georgia. But this battle is playing out in a number of states. The controversy over Indiana's Religious Freedom Restoration Act renewed tensions between those seeking to protect their religious liberty and those seeking gay rights. With the Supreme Court decision on same-sex marriage looming, how will the Catholic Church react? And could its teachings soon be equated with bigotry? Here to discuss is Archbishop William Lori of Baltimore and chairman of the U.S. Bishops' Ad Hoc Committee on Religious Liberty. Your Excellency, thanks for being here.
Good to be with you, Raymond.
I want to start with these conflicting rulings from Colorado, where you had one bakery told they were being compelled, really, to provide wedding cakes for gay marriages. On the other hand, you had these other bakers who were told they were perfectly within their rights to deny a Christian who came to them asking for a cake to be baked with Bible quotes on it. They were told it's fine to discriminate, if you will, against that fellow. What do you see here?
I think what we depend upon is for our laws to protect the rights of all and to be even-handed. So the word discrimination is thrown around very, very liberally. And so it seems to me that the person, if in ordinary commerce, you deny selling someone a product precisely because that person is gay or a member of a minority, that is certainly unjust discrimination. Mm-hmm. If, on the other hand, you don't want to participate in an event that goes against a moral or a religious conviction, well, I think the law should protect you. Similarly, I think that what we see going on here is an uneven application of the law weighted against those who happen to be believers with deep religious and moral convictions.
I want to play a bite for you. This is Cardinal Donald Wuerl. He addressed some of these issues on Fox News last week, and he pointed to what he sees as a double standard. Listen.
I think what we want to do is make sure we're using the same measuring rod for everybody. If we talk about discrimination, then we also have to talk about discriminating against the Catholic Church, its teaching, and its ability to carry out its mission. I think at the heart of this is the ability to recognize everyone. Everyone has the dignity of who they are, but how they act now touches others, and no one should be forced to follow the actions of another and accept the actions of another. Our schools should be free to teach we don't believe in abortion, and we need to be free to teach that.
Bishop Lori, are you concerned, Archbishop, particularly with the Supreme Court set to rule on gay marriage, that what's taught in Catholic schools and preached from the pulpit could be considered bigotry?
I am. First, I think the Cardinal's statement is excellent, and I think sets the right tone. Secondly, I think we already see the Church's teachings on marriage and family and other matters such as that being labeled as bigotry. You see in the media religious liberty being put in quotation marks. And so already you see this tendency that if our teaching goes against a popular movement or what people see as the next thing coming down the pike that we want to resist, well, it's being labeled as bigotry. Mm-hmm. And that's going to make it very difficult for us to be able to convey our teaching and, of course, live our teaching and act on our teaching.
Your Excellency, what is the right balance here, then, in your opinion? I mean, it seems these rights are coming into conflict and one will have to cede to the others, yes?
Well, that's the whole point of religious freedom restoration acts, whether it's the federal one or the ones that we see enacted in states. There's some 20 states that have them, another 11 states. The state courts have interpreted their constitutions such that they have RFRA-like protections. These are laws that do not discriminate, but seek to carefully balance the rights and the equality of all. So that if a person feels that the government has unjustly intruded upon, discriminated against his or her religious and moral convictions, RFRA doesn't automatically decide the case. It provides such a person their day in court. So this is very carefully balanced, and it's a shame that such a fine law that was passed in 1993 and signed into law by President Clinton, and that similar laws in various states are now being given such a bad name. It's really bad for the future of our national conversation, and it's really bad for our jurisprudence going forward.
I want to change gears for a moment and talk about the Christian persecution unfolding around the world, particularly in Kenya. Al-Shabaab this past week, 148 Christians targeted and killed for being Christians. The Pope spoke out over Easter and he said the international community must step forward. And he even indicated that force might be needed and therefore moral in this instance. We also see this case of the death penalty for the Boston bomber. The bishops of Massachusetts have come out against that. The Pope recently opposing the death penalty. Walk us through briefly, if you could, when is violence moral? When can it be used? And isn't it a prudential judgment?
Of course, it is a prudential judgment. But as we look to the violence against Christians and also some Muslims in the Middle East and in Africa, clearly these are defenseless victims who deserve to be defended. And sometimes it's the last resort, it's not your first resort, but when there's nothing else you can do to defend these very innocent people, it makes sense. And so the Holy Father, who is clearly a man of great peace and a man of great pastoral love, understands that something has to be done to defend these poor people. On the other hand, with regard to the death penalty, certainly the Boston, the bombings are really heinous, and they make us angry, they make us sad, they make us outraged. But I think the bishops of Massachusetts are saying that in order to protect society, the death penalty is not necessary, and that life imprisonment is the better course. And that has certainly been the teaching of the Church. Again, that's a prudential judgment, given the circumstances of our society today.
Very good. Archbishop William Lori, thank you so much for joining us from Manhattan and taking time out of your busy schedule.
Glad to do it, Raymond. Thank you.